Yo, Big D with a Week 9 recap on the Spunky Spectrum Sports YouTube page. Before I tell you about another wild and crazy week in the National Football League, please subscribe and share the Spunky Spectrum Sports YouTube page for not only see the stream, but see all the content I upload. Also, we'll be back with the Big D episodes later in the week. Hopefully some USC and other shows coming. You can check out the Big D podcast on Spotify and Apple. So week 9 was another wild and crazy week. It seemed like every game was 20-17 for some reason, and a couple crazy ones, one or two upsets, one or two surprises. But what else would you want in a week of the National Football League? But how about Kansas City and Tennessee on Sunday night? Whew. Can we get more of the Titans Chiefs, please? Because anytime the Titans and Chiefs get together, you don't know what to expect. I mean, how about Tennessee almost pulling off a shocker with Malik Willis on the center? He completed what? 5 of 16 passes at Arrowhead, but Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs overcame a less than shaky first half and won the game 20-17 overtime. I mean, Mahomes might not have played his best game. I mean, he attempted 68 passes, but sometimes in a game, Patrick Mahomes can do things that no other quarterback in football can. He can throw left-hand pass, spin around, throw ball. Here, throw passes here. And 2 or 3 times here, Mahomes can literally put the Chiefs on his back and say, boys, hop on me because we're not losing this game. Well, that's what happened on Sunday night. I mean, Mahomes threw 68 times for 446 yards. I think it was a Sunday Night Football record. 446 yards. Oh, and who was Kansas City's only legitimate rushing threat that team? Mahomes, 6 carries, 63 yards. I love that AFC Championship game against Tennessee. And you knew going into this game, the Titans wanted to muck it up, play a physical style, get Derrick Henry the ball. You got 17 carries for 115, 2 scores. But to me, the game was not necessarily how Tennessee would move the ball on the ground. It's whether or not Kansas City could maybe not overwhelm, but just squeak by. Because you knew how once the game was like middle of the first quarter, second quarter, this was going to be a slugfest. This was not going to be a pretty game. This was going to be a flat-out fight. And usually in a fight, Derrick Henry wins, but the Chiefs won because they've got one of the best quarterbacks in football. And I also look at this game based on what both teams did in the offseason. Yes, Kansas City traded Tyreek Hill, but the Chiefs still have Travis Kelce. They added MVS, Juju Smith-Schuster, together with Nico Hardman. If you look at, and the Chiefs also just added Kadarius Toney. Kelce caught 10 for 106. Juju caught 10 for 88. Hardman 6 for 79 and a touchdown. Meanwhile, Tennessee traded A.J. Brown. And basically, the Titan pass and attack with no one. Willis only completed 5 of 16 passes for 80 yards. Simple. You're not going to win in today's NFL without a legitimate pass and attack. And once Kansas City scored that touchdown, won the toss, it was game over. The Chiefs were not going to lose that game as long as Patrick Mahomes didn't throw an interception like in the AFC Championship game. Once the Chiefs scored the field goal, the Titans were dead. The Titans were dead because Malik Willis was not going to win, and that with that crowd going ballistic. So Kansas City got herself a big win. With Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes, the Chiefs are going to be very difficult to stop, particularly at Arrowhead, off a bye. I think Andy Reid's now 21-3 off a bye. Not bad. I would not want to face the Chiefs coming off a bye in January. So, oh, by the way, guess what team gets to face the Chiefs this coming week? That'd be my Jags. So, oh no, I hope Mahomes doesn't throw for 446 yards against us, Duval. But sure, an interesting game. I mean, yeah, it's one of those games where if you Tennessee, even though you lost, you didn't. You played really well, particularly for 3.5 quarters. Just that Pat Mahomes sometimes do amazing things. So Kansas City's now 6-2. Tennessee's 5-3, and there's a chance we could see that matchup in January because the Chiefs look like the best in the West, and Tennessee clearly looks like the best in the AFC South. So it's a long way to go, not even halfway through for a lot of teams. So we'll see what happens. But maybe the biggest shock of the day was in the Meadowlands when the New York Jets, that's right, folks, Jets, Jets, not just beat, but stunned the Buffalo Bills. Guess what? 20-17. It seems like every game was 20-17 on Sunday, but to be honest with you, for the Bills, I've got major concerns. First off, Josh Allen's got a UCL injury, even though he was throwing 7-yard pass late in the game. But I'm worried about this Bill team because Buffalo is way too reliant on Josh Allen. I mean, yeah, Josh Allen. I mean, and last couple of weeks, Josh Allen's not been good, particularly in the second half. Couple bad interceptions on Sunday. Only barely completed 50% of his passing. The weather was not an issue in the Meadowlands. Great weather. So weather was no excuse. And by the way, guess who also led the Bills in rushing? Again, the Bills cannot have Josh Allen throw the ball, catch the ball, run the ball, land the dang plane, because otherwise this team's going to come up short. Buffalo reminds me so much of Mike Tyson in his prime. Because people would be feared about facing Mike Tyson and then he would knock you out. But if you got him in a fight, he didn't have that plan B. When Buffalo plays his best, look at week 1 against the Rams or week 2 against the Titans. The Bills can knock you out. But we have seen over and over where the Bills don't have that chance. And the Bills don't have that plan B. I mean, Gabriel Davis feels like the ultimate wild card receiver. He might go 2 for 33 or 2 for 133. And Stephon Diggs was great in the first half, but why didn't the Bills give him the ball? He got 10 targets, but he only caught half of them. Now, was part of that because Sauce Gardner was on him, perhaps, but the Bills need more from Gabriel Davis. Maybe he's not a 2. Maybe he's more a 3 on a really good team. Maybe the Bills don't have it. But the Bills need more from Devin Singletary. You can't give him the ball 8 times. He's got to get the ball 15, 18, 20 times a game. Save Josh Allen from himself for crying out loud. I mean, Mahomes is the leading rusher, but he's not the leading rusher every week. It seems like every week I see the Bills play, Josh Allen's the leading rusher every single game. It's freaking ridiculous. But how about the Jets? Some people thought New York would struggle this year, potentially finish last in the AFC East. They're 6-3 with wins over the Dolphins and Bills. Who would have said the Jets would have a couple division wins? But you know, Stoff, I must say this: Rob Saleh's done a dang good job this year because the Jets only gave up 3 points in the second half, and despite losing one of my favorite rookies this year, Brees Hall, the Jets ran the ball for 174 yards. Michael Carter, everybody looked at Brees Hall as the number one back, but Michael Carter is more than capable back. I like the James Robinson move from both sides because Robinson can be that running back. Carter can be more of a scat back and open up opportunities for Travis Etienne. We've seen the last couple of weeks that Etienne's looking like a top 10 running back. So, but there were two teams that nailed last year's draft. One was the Seattle Seahawks, and one was the New York Jets. I don't believe the New York Jets have drafted this amount of talent in a long time. But Sauce Gardner might be the best cornerback in football as a rookie. He has basically eliminated every top receiver he's played this year. And Garrett Wilson's a darn good receiver. If only he played with a little better quarterback. But Garrett Wilson caught 8 balls for 92 yards and looks like a stud on offense. But the Jets have got themselves a team. Now, does New York have a quarterback? Because we've seen where New York has limited Zach Wilson's attempts. He's only, let me see. Well, let me see. This year, I mean, he threw the ball 36 times against the Steelers, but 21 against Miami, 18 against the Packers, 26 against the Broncos, 41 against New England, and 25 against the Bills. The Jets don't want to throw the ball more than 25, 30 times because Zach Wilson throwing the ball 40 times, the Jets are in trouble. But if he's throwing it 20, 25 times, New York's in games. If they keep the scoring down, the Jets can win. So New York is now 6-3 going into the bye, and even though the Bills still lead atop the AFC East, I've got a lot of worries about them. Everybody who owns Josh Allen, that would include me, in fantasy football should be a little worried. Is Josh Allen healthy? Because they've got a very difficult game against the Vikings this coming Sunday. And then still have New England twice, Miami, and Cincinnati late in the year. So it's not going to be easy for the Bills. But, a lot of people's Super Bowl pick right now is looking a bit shaky. You know who else? I'm not sure how many people saw this game because a lot of people would have watched the game in Chicago, game in Green Bay. But did anybody see Joe Mixon score not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 touchdowns against the Carolina Panthers? I'm sorry for anybody who faced Joe Mixon in fantasy this past week, but it wasn't a bad week. If you use Joe Mixon in fantasy or DFS and won, you should be thankful. And if you lost but while using Joe Mixon, then I want to see your team. But Joe Mixon never gets the credit he deserves. He always feels like an underrated team. I feel like the Bengals always underrated. And yeah, the Bengals struggled the previous Monday night in Cleveland, but there were bad matchups throughout the league. Peyton Manning used to struggle in Foxborough. The Colts, for some reason, no matter who the quarterback is, can't win in Jacksonville. Andy Reid struggles against the Tennessee Titans. And the Bengals can't beat Kevin Stefanski and the Browns. But Joe Mixon's a darn good running back. And while a lot of people may not put him in the Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry group, I think Joe Mixon's a dang good runner. Really tough, physical, can catch the ball in the backfield if need be. But the Bengals are a very difficult team to face because Burrow's got all kinds of weapons. And just watch this Bengal team if and when Jamal Chase comes back. Because you have Burrow, Chase, Higgins, Boyd, and Mixon. They beat the Chiefs last year, and that's the team. And I think the Bengals might be the one team the Chiefs don't want to play in January. Because the Bengals are a team that can run the ball and hit the big play. I don't think the Chiefs fear the Bills, but I think Kansas City fears Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon, and the Cincinnati Bengals. Oh, and Joe Burrow was just 22 of 28 with an 81 QBR. Not bad. Not bad. Not bad for a sidekick quarterback. Speaking of quarterbacks, what is wrong with Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers? Because the Detroit Lions beat said Packers 15-9. Well, it's simple. Green Bay doesn't have enough weapons. Last year, you could argue Green Bay didn't have enough weapons with Davante Adams. And now, since Green Bay traded Davante Adams, and by the way, I can attest because Davante Adams is still running 80 yards past the Jags secondary, but Green Bay doesn't have, but I don't think Aaron Rodgers likes young receivers, and Green Bay's got good young receivers. But I don't think Rodgers likes working with young receivers. He trusts veterans. He trusts guys who know him well. But Allen Lazard finally came back and made plays. He was 4 for 87 and a touchdown on 10 targets. But Green Bay just befuddles me this year because everybody thinks that this Packer team is probably a little better than it is, but Packers are 3-6, Minnesota 7-1, so Vikings got 4.5 game lead in the NFC North. Green Bay's done. Green Bay might be in the redacted category, and the Cowboys and Mike McCarthy would love nothing more than to put more gasoline on the cheese parade. So we'll see what happens in Green Bay. I mean, Fox is going to be there this coming week for Mike McCarthy's homecoming. So things could get spicy and cheesy in Wisconsin. And now a rant. I've gone back and forth of what to rant, but I'm going to rant on the Indianapolis Colts quarterback/coaching issue. Yesterday, the big news around the NFL was that the Colts fired Frank Wright as their head coach, and former Colts center Jeff Saturday became their interim coach. And to me, I've wondered what what is going on because I just didn't buy it. Because why would the Colts relieve Frank Wright of his duties and replace him with a guy who's coached high school football? Maybe the fact that Jeff Saturday played in Indianapolis knows the fans, but a lot of those players he would have played on, and I personally don't get it, but yeah, what up, Big D? Thank you, David. But I just, I just maybe the Colts just want to guarantee themselves the top 3 or 4 pick and get themselves a shot at a C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, Will Evans, Hendon Hooker, Hooker, because the Indianapolis Colts have gone through a miracle round of quarterbacks since Andrew Luck retired. Jacoby Brissett, Philip Rivers, Matt Ryan, Carson Wentz, Sam Ellinger. The Colts need a quarterback who can be their franchise leader for the next 10 to 15 years. Peyton Manning was that guy. Andrew Luck was going to be that guy, and then he left. But the Colts didn't have a plan C. Teams don't go from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers or Peyton Manning to Andrew Luck. It's you. The Indianapolis Colts have got to figure out this quarterback issue. Otherwise, they're going to become the laughing stock in the NFL. Because you look at it, and if you get the quarterback position right, you can become good right away. Look at the Seahawks. A lot of people question him for trading Russell Wilson, but Geno Smith's played the best football of his career, and Seattle not only rid itself of Russ, but they got a ton of picks from Denver, a ton of cap space, all kinds of young players. Everybody wants young teams with cheap players where you can go out and spend guys. Look at the Miami Dolphins. Miami could give up picks for Jalen Water, Tyreek Hill, and Bradley Chubb because Tua's not making any money. If Tua were making $40 million a year, the Dolphins might not have gotten in the Tyreek Hill sweepstakes. But Miami could pay for Cheetah, could give up multiple draft picks for Bradley Chubb. The Colts have put themselves in a kerfuffle because Matt Ryan's at the tail end of his career. The Colts could be in salary cap hell. Didn't have a first round pick because they traded for Carson Wentz. And it just, I feel like the Colts are going to could end up with a top 3 or 4 pick, but we'll see. Because if the Colts don't end up with a good young quarterback in this upcoming draft, it could be ugly in Indianapolis. But we'll see what happens. Thanks for tuning in. I know it's a little different. Usually I upload a podcast and I do a live stream, but tried something else today. Hopefully people on the East Coast make it through a tropical storm / hurricane Nicole. So watching out for you guys on the East Coast. Stay safe. Please vote, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.